Somebody entered ministry. He wanted to start ministry in Abuja. And he gathered 100 million and entered the city. Said they've come to take over the city. He said, relax. How much is billboard? He paid for it. How much is tent? He paid for it. After 4 months, they became 3 in the tent. That was when he knew that what you need to start a ministry is not money, it's light. I wish you understood the excellency of light. You wouldn't jump into that business until you have light. If you understood the excellency of light, you will not start that course. They told you medicine is lucrative. Meanwhile, if you had checked in light, your career is in music. You would not have wasted. We were not wise. We were not trained. If I knew, I would have been studying God from 10 years. If I knew this is where I would end, I was in the studio with lab coat. All the chemicals I studied, I have not used one. Because I didn't have light. Studied chemicals, studied water, H2O. Water is H2O. Studying about pinacolum reaction, rearrangement reaction in medicinal chemistry. I didn't need any of them. But there was no light. There's nothing wrong in schooling. But if I had light, I would have schooled in the direction of my call. I would have schooled. It would have equipped me better. But I didn't have light. I was groping in darkness for many years before I began to hear the sounds of heaven. Why wouldn't I be studying political science if I'm a politician? If I knew that my place is in government? Why would I not be studying about business, economics, business realities if I know my place is in the economic world? Why would a businessman be studying theology? Because there's no light. And when you finish your master's, you will now need to go back for apprenticeship to learn your life and your calling. And so what light comes to do is that it gives you authority for rulership, and then it gives you power to crush the enemy. There are most of you here, the challenge that your family is going through, the challenge your ministry is going through, the challenge you are going through is darkness at work. If you had one flicker of light shine through that darkness, that challenge would have crumbled. And so the excellency of the presence, the glory of the presence is the fact that the presence furnishes you with light. Light that is consistent with your destiny. He looked at Jeremiah. He said, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. I ordained you and I sanctified you to be a prophet. You are not a priest. Your great-grandfather, your grandfather and your father may be priests. You are a prophet. And your order of the prophetic is to uproot and to plant. And so when Jeremiah enters a city, he knows that he's an architect of civilization. If he sees something that is not consistent with the will of God, he can say, by this time next year, vanish from the face of the earth. Because he found his destiny. That kind of precision and accuracy, you can't pick it in the market. You can't pick it in the Bible school. You will only pick it in the presence. The greatest crisis of destiny is dislocation. Men that should go to Nineveh are on a boat going to another direction. And because they are not in the direction of their destiny, all their efforts count for nothing. Hear this. Your effort will be wasted until light comes to you. I've taught many times, if you are in the wrong direction, speed is not an advantage. Imagine if I'm supposed to go to Benue and I face Gombe. I'm driving on high speed. I have an accident. I stop, change the tire. Engine knock, I repair it. Put in all the labor. After 2 days, I will now arrive Gombe. I'm farther from my destination. But if I had light and somebody tells me, take left, not right, all of that waste wouldn't have been necessary. The excellency of the presence is that the light of God is furnished. And that light gives you authority to prosecute destiny. And that light gives you authority to destroy the enemies of your destiny. You are not a victim. You are just in darkness. And the moment light comes to you, you will discover how helpless the devil is. The devil is not as strong as he parades himself to be. He's a defeated foe. He's a having spoiled principalities and powers. He made a public show of them, triumphing over them by the cross. The devil is not powerful. The devil only has instrument of deception that he uses to keep the sons of light in captivity. The moment light comes to you, you will discover your rulership over the devil. That's the excellency of the presence of God. That light dwells in God's presence. Do you know why I'm teaching this? So that you will not reduce the presence of God to a feeling. You can be in a bus, and while you are in that bus, the presence of God will be so tangible. But you will feel nothing. You will be flooded with light. You can wake up in the morning. You are talking to your wife in the kitchen, and the presence of God surrounds you. You are not feeling anything. The presence came as light. Everything you need to do for the next 5 years, the presence of God is downloading it. If you understand the presence, from that kitchen you go to the altar. You know that where you are standing is holy ground. If you don't know the presence of God, you will think the presence of God is only strong when they are worshiping God in church and people are falling under the anointing. That's one of it, but it's deeper. Because the presence of God comes in the similitude of light. You can be in the bus and be in the presence of God. You can be in the market and be in the presence of God. You can be somewhere talking with your friends and the presence of God will come there. And when I knew this, I began to consciously maximize it. Because I thought before now that the presence of God was about the atmosphere in church and the feeling. And so when they are worshiping God, I'm sensitive, waiting. And when the presence of God falls down, I lift my hand and worshiping. Until God began to teach me these things. Because the first dimension of the presence of God I knew was light. And I will be in a bus traveling. The presence of God will be so strong. And God will be downloading things. I will think I'm intelligent. I say, okay, when I get back, if I arrive at my destination, I will write these things down. I will now go back to my destination. I will think until my brain will crack. I will remember one thing that was said. I now discovered it was not my brain working. It was a vista that opened to me. That was when God began to teach me that light comes from my presence. And if you don't trap it, when I leave, that reality will leave. I now knew that the presence of God was not a feeling. It was light. And when the light of God comes, even if I'm driving, I park. Because I know those articles are codes of destiny. And I've made many journeys that looks impossible just by those few light strands that came to my spirit. Okay, sometimes you are sleeping, he invade you in the dream. You are not even praying. God is talking to you until you wake up. He keeps talking. If you are wise, you will carry your book and start writing. If you think you are being intelligent, you will lose many seasons of your life. The presence is light. Some of you will not experience the presence of God when you are praying. It's when you finish praying and you are entering the bathroom. That's when the presence will come. And while you are taking your shower, the presence of God will fall on you there. And God will begin to give you direction for destiny. But because you don't know the presence of God, you'll think it's a feeling. And you will lose the presence of God. I've seen many people in my short walk with God. I went somewhere to preach. And I saw a damsel. This young lady looked like an Indian. When I looked upon this lady, I thought maybe she came for that meeting to trust God to win a contract. Because everything about her showcased excellence and glory. But to my greatest dismay, the lady was seeking God to get married. I said, it's not possible. What do you mean? Unless every man in where you live is blind. How old are you? I'm 38 years old. What? Have you been locked up in your room all your life? How come? She said nobody has asked her out in the last 7 years. That was the day I discovered that there's a mystery about light and darkness. There's a mystery, great mystery. It was from that day that I came up with the understanding that it's not beauty that gets people married, it's favor. But you see, there are many people who don't have enough light. They spend all their money on hair, on eyelashes, and on fingernails. But when you have light, you will know that There is an economy that Esther had. That even when nobody should see the king, she broke protocol. And when she entered, the king stood up and said, the search is over. It will take light. It will take light. Too many people don't have light. So every time you come and receive these messages, make sure you share them. Comment on them. Interact with what you are hearing so that it will be made available to many people.